Greetings, everyone. I am Dr. Wolf, and I believe there will be a day when Chrysalis will save all of Equestria. Now, what do I mean by that? I recently watched the episode The Mean Six, and yes, there was a lot to be desired with how everything wrapped up in the end. A great setup, but didn't feel like there was a whole lot of payoff. But, like I said in my review of that episode, I think there is a possibility that there could be something subtly connected with the elements of harmony here. Now, during the scene when the Mean Six were having the life drained out of them by the Tree of Harmony, you could look at that scene two different ways. It could be that the tree had seen these Mean Six as doppelgangers that weren't meant to exist, that they were unworthy of the elements, or whatever the case, they just needed to be purged of their dark magic. Could make sense. Or you could see the fact that each of the elements in turn had turned black for a moment before those tendrils had popped out of the tree. Perhaps that is signifying that the elements themselves were being corrupted by the presence of the Mean Six. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, certainly the elements of harmony could never really be corrupted, could they? And I'm not so sure about that. You could look back at, say, Sunset Shimmer from the original Equestria Girls film, and the fact that she was able to use the element of magic to create this new demonic form, to create an army of teenage zombies, you could argue that the elements are a tool, not necessarily always a force for good. It depends on who's wielding them. So, in that case, and I'm gonna make just an argument, a hypothesis, a theory here, I'm gonna say, just for now, let's suppose that the end of the Mean Six episode has subtly hinted that the elements have been corrupted in some way by the dark magic of the Mean Six. Maybe their essence is still awake and alive within the Tree of Harmony, or maybe the tree itself just absorbed these negative feelings. Whatever the case, I'm just going to go off of that assumption for now. Now let's also say that Chrysalis is still off trying to make her plan for revenge somewhere, and she has no idea that any of this has happened. Let's also say that because the Mean Six and Starlight were pretty much completely ignorant of all of the events that happened during the Mean Six episode, they had no idea that there were doppelgangers around in the first place. So this all could be happening behind the scenes, that the tree and the elements themselves are slowly being corrupted. And let's also say that perhaps someday the tree and the elements themselves could be corrupted to the point to, let's say, bring the Mean Six back into existence. I mean, those colored pieces of wood still exist, and they're still right next to the tree, so you never know. And let's say that there is now a scenario where the elements of harmony, let's call it Deus Ex Machina, that has saved Equestria who knows how many times in the past, is now a weapon being wielded by those who have been deeply corrupted by dark magic, created by dark magic, by Chrysalis, of all ponies. That sounds like a legitimate threat. That sounds like some real stakes. And let's say that the Mean Six, Starlight, Princess Celestia, Princess Luna, they are powerless against something like this. They do not know how to combat this. They do not know how to save Equestria from this. I mean, just imagine the amount of threat that this could cause. And you could see Chrysalis in the background, both cackling maniacally for seeing her revenge finally coming to pass over all the ponies that she has hated so much, and yet she's not the one really causing it anymore. She was the catalyst, but she has no control over any of the Mean Six at all at this point. I mean, Twilight, Mean Six, made that very clear. She wanted to usurp power, she wanted Chrysalis out of the way. That's still going to be a thing. So imagine Chrysalis in the midst of all this, seeing her most hated ponies finally getting the revenge that she's always wanted, and yet the whole of Equestria is being taken over or perhaps even destroyed by the Mean Six, who she created and who would want Chrysalis out of the way too. I mean, that sounds like a really interesting plot in my opinion. Now imagine that Starlight figures out how these Mean Six got created. I mean, she's dabbled in some dark magic in the past. It wouldn't be that far of a stretch for Starlight to make that connection. Now imagine that Starlight and Chrysalis, oh goodness, how does Starlight convince Chrysalis to help them stop this? I mean, this is a real struggle on which is the greater evil. I mean, what would Chrysalis want more? She knows that she has no real power left. She has no subjects, no followers, no servants, as she put it in the Mean Six episode. And yet she knows that she cannot stop this from happening on her own. She needs help. And everyone in Equestria needs Chrysalis's help. Imagine that scenario where Chrysalis, as the one who created the Mean Six, is the only one capable of putting a stop to it. Imagine if Chrysalis was the one who was finally able to save Equestria. But it would be in the midst of all this turmoil about, is it worth it holding on to all this anger and hate? Is it worth it having this innate desire for power? Is it worth it to see all of her most hated ponies brought down low if it means that all of Equestria is going to burn? I think this could make a fantastic story. I hope that the MLP writers have this in store at some point. If they've subtly hinted that the elements of harmony have been corrupted, again, I don't know if that's the case, but it seems, the more I think about it, that the more likely that scenario is, it would finally mean that the Mean Six episode was setting up something brilliant, setting up something truly exciting to look forward to. I don't know if it's going to happen though. Oh, but I wish something like that would happen. I mean, that could create some really deep emotional turmoil for a major villain in MLP, where you could see a real slow reformation where she has no idea what she wants more. There's so much potential with that. And if the MLP writers never take advantage of that opportunity, I say please, fanfiction writers, put this together. I want to see this story come to life because it seems like such a grand tale that would end at right where it should. I mean, doesn't that make sense? I hope that that's the case. I really do. I can just imagine what the corrupted elements of harmony could be capable of in the hands of the Mean Six. I don't know if that's ever going to be the case, but the more I think about it, the more I want it to be the case. That sounds like really fun, engaging episodes that have real stakes, that have lasting consequences. I want to see that, where Chrysalis of all ponies, is the one who is capable of saving Equestria. But what do you guys think? Until next time, I am Dr. Wolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.